Hello everyone. This video is about conditionals and I'm going to begin by discussing what a conditional sentence actually is. Well, let's see. Conditional sentences are made up of two parts. We have the if clause, which is the condition, and we have the main clause, which is the result. Let's look at the example. If it snows tomorrow, they will cancel school. In the if clause, we have if it snows tomorrow, that's the condition, and with the condition, something may or may not occur. It depends on the circumstances. And then if we look at the main clause, which in this case is they will cancel school, that is the result. So we can say the result is conditional to what happens or doesn't happen in the if clause or the condition. So according to this sentence, if it snows tomorrow, they will cancel school. And if it doesn't snow tomorrow, they will have school. Got it? Okay. Now, can I change the order of the clauses in a conditional sentence? Yes, I can. Let's start by using the sentence that we just looked at. Number one, if it snows tomorrow, they will cancel school. Condition in the front, followed by the result. And in the next example, number two, they will cancel school if it snows tomorrow. They both mean the same exact thing. So we can change the order. The only thing is the comma. In example number one, the comma comes after the if clause. But you can see in example number two, there's no comma. That's the only thing you have to watch out for. Now, there are many types of conditionals, but I'll be discussing 4 of the most common that you'll see or hear. The first is the zero conditional, or what they call type 0 sometimes. The first conditional, or type 1. The second conditional, or type 2, and the third conditional, or type 3. I spoke a little bit about these conditionals in my video on will and would with modals, so you can go back there and take a look if you need more information or if you're a little bit unsure, but I think you'll be able to understand everything when you get through with this video. Okay, let's look at the zero conditional first. The zero conditional is used for a general truth or fact, and it always has the same result. And you'll see when I look at the examples. The construction is the present simple plus the present simple. So let's look at the examples. The first one, if people eat too much, they gain weight. Is this a general truth? I would say yes, unless the person has a high metabolism and they can eat a lot of food. But generally, if people eat too much, they gain weight. Okay? In the next one, next example, if it rains, the grass gets wet. I think that's a fact. I think if it rains out, unless you have something covering the grass, it's going to get wet. And in both examples, look at the present simple tense on the verbs. Do you see eat and gain in the first example, and rains and gets in the second example? That's our zero conditional. All right, let's look at the first conditional. The first conditional is used for a possible situation in the future or in predicting a likely result. And the construction is the present simple plus will plus the verb. Let's look at the examples. In the first example, number 1, if you exercise, you will get into good shape. In this sentence, the condition, if you exercise, if you work out, the result will be you will get into good shape. You see it? All right. Number 2, if it rains today, we won't have the picnic. In the condition, in the if clause, if it rains today, if we have rain, we will not or won't have the picnic. That will be the result. They will cancel the picnic. So you can see how it predicts the likely result, and you can see present simple in the if clauses of 1 and 2. The first one is exercise and rains in the second one. And you can see how the construction is in the result. Number 1 is will get, right? The will plus verb, and won't have in the second clause. Got it? All right, let's look at the second conditional. The second conditional is used in hypothetical or unlikely situations, and we're talking about things that are unreal or not possible now or in the future. They are constructed by using the past simple in our if clause plus would plus verb in our result. Let's look at the examples. I think it's going to be easier to understand. All right, number 1, if I had $1 billion, I would buy an island in the Caribbean. Yes, I would. So in our if clause, our condition, if I had $1 billion, which is probably very unreal or unlikely, I would buy an island in the Caribbean. This is the result of a hypothetical situation. Well, I wish it did happen. All right, number 2, if I were you, I would quit smoking. Same thing. We have if I were you, which is impossible to be. I can't be somebody else. But that's the condition. The result would be if I were you, I would quit smoking. That's the result of this condition. And take a look at how they're structured. If you look at number 1 and number 2, in the conditions, we have past simple, had in the first, and were in the second example. And in the results of both, the main clauses of both, we have would plus the verb, right? We have would buy in the first one, and we have would quit in the second example. Got it? All right, let's look at the third conditional. The third conditional is used when, let's say, a person is imagining a different past. So it's an imaginary situation that did not happen in the past. I know it's confusing, but I think the examples will help me to explain it to you. All right, and this conditional is constructed with the past perfect first in the if clause, and then in your main clause, your result, it's would have plus the past participle of the verb. So let's look at number 1, and then maybe it'll be easier to see it. So number 1 is if he had trained harder, he would have won the race. So let's see, the condition is if he had trained harder, right? We're imagining a different past, right? If he had trained harder. So the result is he would have won the race. Okay, again, it's in the past. So actually, they're both in the past. Our condition is in the past, and our result is in the past. Got it? All right, let's look at the next one. If I hadn't been sleeping, I would have answered the door. Again, the condition is a past. We're imagining a different past. If I hadn't been sleeping. That's what the person is saying here. If I hadn't been sleeping. And then the next past is I would have answered the door. So you see, we're always in the past here. We're in the past in the condition, and we're in the past in the result. And you can see the construction. You see how past perfect, you see had trained in number 1, and hadn't been sleeping we have in the second example. And then in our result, we have would have won. That's the would have plus the past participle of win. And in the second result, we have would have answered. Okay, got it? All right, we'll end this video with a summary. So you can pause the video if you want to now. But that's all. Remember what I always say. Keep practicing. See you next time.